So we just got done talking about Microsoft, and we got done talking about Sony. So let's switch things up and talk about Nintendo for our road to E3. So yes, hello everybody. This is Double RPG here from the Game Riffers, and welcome back to the Game Riffers' own Road to E3 2017 series, where we are getting down to the nit and gritty of talking about the last first-party company amongst our road to E3, and that is the big in itself, Nintendo. But joining me is Fighter Cows.
Hello, and nice wordplay.
Oh, well, thank you. And unfortunately, our other co-host, 16-Bit Jeff, could not even join us this time around because he must have had to pull off an all-nighter, and he's probably asleep at this time. But we actually do have a special guest who is joining us, and it's none other than the founder of the Broken Infinite or Hero Club, Jerry?
No, I'm just Hero Club.
Okay,
I'm
just
the
Hero
founder
Club.
of Broken
But
Infinite.
yes, you heard his voice here, folks. So here he is, the one and only Wheelchairs, or Wheels for short. Hi, man.
Yeah, I am Wheelchair 21. You guys heard me before on the Akari Cast, the original version. You haven't heard me on the Akari Cast Classic, but
Yeah, we
you've
have.
at least heard of me.
They have.
They have
We talked about the Switch, remember? Then as well.
on that episode. That's right.
Ultraman Orb. I even gave you the special intro.
Damn, I don't remember. God, man, you know my life's going to shit.
That's the infamous episode where I said you didn't pre-order my friendship.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it's all coming back. No, I'm not gonna lie. When you said the Orb intro, I just said to myself, "Oh my God, it's the pre-order my friendship." Yeah, my bad, but yeah, no, I'm here, which is gonna be interesting.
Yes, it ought to be a really fun time to talk with you and get your 2 cents on what you predict from Nintendo at E3 this year coming up. But other than that, let's go ahead and let's not waste any time here, and we'll get on with the list of what is all going on. So from what Nintendo announced for their E3 plans, for what we do know, they are doing the Nintendo E3 Spotlight, which you can guess is the same as the Nintendo E3 digital event that they've done for both 2014, 2015, as well as having their Treehouse presentation, which they do every year, which is no big surprise. But they're also going to be having an ARMS, I would say, open tournament or invitational tournament right before the game releases, which is something that they also announced that they're going to have at E3 this year. Just a small tournament for their new fighting game that's coming out within that Friday of that same week of E3. And from what all Nintendo is going to talk about at E3 this year, they're pretty much going to be focusing on the Nintendo Switch games and the Nintendo 3DS games that are coming out between now and until the end of 2017. But I wouldn't be surprised if they actually had a few surprises for games that are coming out beyond 2017, but I don't even know. But also I wanted to mention that their biggest game that they're going to be focusing on during E3 is going to be Super Mario Odyssey, much like what The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was their biggest game of last year that they showed at E3. Super Mario Odyssey is going to be their meat and potatoes for E3 as of this year. But of course, let's give a quick rundown on the games that are coming out that they're possibly going to be talking about for their E3 Spotlight on the Switch and on the 3DS. For the Switch, Super Mario Odyssey, which is a no-brainer, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, ARMS, Splatoon 2, Fire Emblem Warriors, which is also on the Nintendo 3DS, and possibly Retro Studios' newest game, which some of us are speculating could be Metroid Prime 4. And the Nintendo 3DS games that... What? Oh, never mind. But anyway, the Nintendo 3DS games that most likely they're going to showcase are Ever Oasis, which is the new game by Grezzo, who, being developed by Koichi Ishii, who is the creator of the Seiken Densetsu series for Square before he left Square and formed his own company. And Monster Hunter Stories from Capcom, Yokai Watch 2, Psychic Specters, which is it's supposed to be the definitive version of Yokai Watch 2 from Level 5 Games, Cold Step Revolt, RPG Maker Fest, Bye Bye Box Boy, Miitopia, which is the Me RPG for the 3DS, the new Kirby multiplayer game that was announced during the last Nintendo Direct back in April, Hey Pikmin, which is developed by the developers of Yoshi's New Island, and of course I mentioned Fire Emblem Warriors, which is also coming on the 3DS, and the Nintendo presentation, the Treehouse presentation, they said there's going to be some new surprises, but well, we already know that already. So let's go ahead and get on with our talks with what we predict from Nintendo at E3 as of this year. Now, me personally, I do believe that based on the Nintendo Switch games and the 3DS games, they are going to be talking about those during the E3 Spotlight and the Nintendo Treehouse presentations that they have going on during the event. But what else do we know that's going to come out for at least the Nintendo Switch this year? Because that console already launched back in March, and I got me a Nintendo Switch unit back on launch day, and I've been enjoying it for what it is, but still bummed out about the short and small lineup of games, but, happy that there's some more content that's coming for it down the future. But, is there a new Metroid game, or possibly two new Metroid games that are being developed under Nintendo, which we've been hearing rumors from? But also, is there like a new F-Zero? Is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 primed to be released as of this year, or is it pushed back to 2018? And especially with the Nintendo 3DS, what all new can we hear about Nintendo's current handheld, since Nintendo is still strongly supporting their portable platform? I guess what I'm saying is that Nintendo needs to, since they're already released the Switch especially, they need to go out with a full home run and make sure that they are, committed to actually delivering us a steady slew of content, not only from themselves, but also from third parties as well, which, Nintendo hasn't been really famous for having strong third-party content on their platforms, but hopefully that with the Switch, how it's been receptive between the public and with game developers and publishers, maybe that's the turnaround that they need. But I'm gonna hold, reserve my judgment on that until that comes. And so, yeah, there needs to be a huge push of first and third party content to be announced during their E3 Spotlight and the Treehouse presentation, and of course, hopefully two of the last four of the Wii U games that were supposed to be ported to the Nintendo Switch, which the other two was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and the other was Splatoon, even though we got the sequel Splatoon 2. But hopefully the other two will also be talked about, which I know some people are speculating is the recent Super Smash Bros. That was on Wii U and 3DS, but having a deluxe version for the Switch, as well as possibly Super Mario Maker, but that's just me. But, as I said, Nintendo, I really hope that you really hit it strong for this year's E3, because if you do, then that's going to be your wild card after the last 2 years of your abysmal and underwhelming performances that you had at E3, because, since Microsoft and especially Sony's been kicking your butt with having strong presentations within the last few years, you really need to hit it on full strides with, getting consumers, winning back consumers' trust now that you have a new console that's already released. So yeah, Nintendo, hopefully you play your cards right, and hopefully this year's E3 for you will not be sucky like a lot of us think it's going to be, or hopefully most of us don't want it to be, but who knows. So Nintendo, good luck. Hopefully you have a strong E3 for you. Okay, so Butt Scratcher!
Knowing my past. Yes, my turn. All right. So, Nintendo E3. What can I say about Ye? I hate saying the word but anyways, my issues with Nintendo usually stem from, I feel like they make a lot of games that are either easily just too much to their general fan base. They don't try to experiment outside the box. Do certain things, like they just don't, in a sense, grasp, I think, what a lot of different gamers want, especially gamers who grew up with Nintendo and want it to be better, as well as be all ages, but evolve with the people that play with it. Like, there's a good thing about having family-friendly content, as well as being like a family entertainment system, but I feel like there should be games that can attract older fans to your franchise, as well as get older with them as they grow. I wouldn't say be like an example like how Samurai Jack got like kind of grimdark by animation, and you would only see the evolution of the grimdarkness unless you read the comics. But I mean, like a series that is made maybe progressionally for older fans as they get older, or games directed towards certain, areas of like adolescence to adults where you can still have fun for yourself and get the enjoyment out of playing these games. I mean, for right now, I mean, Twitch is able to do it when they play not games, but I should say series like Bob Ross and Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So I'm like, Nintendo needs to kind of think of a game series or game adaptation where they, kind of can get all ages more invested and not just ride nostalgia and not just ride the reuse, because this is a game that like I think came out on the Wii U or whatever, was like the Star Fox game, and I want a real Star Fox game. I just don't want a reboot of like 64 or old engine. So with the new games right now, what I see is like very interesting is actually Super Mario Odyssey, because it looks very expansive, it feels very different, and it gives me like a sort of a weird vibe of like Super Mario Sunshine, even though it's not the same games. There's just elements to it where it just feels so out of the norm of what I'm used to seeing with Mario that I enjoy, and I'm ready for this, fresh breath of air. Breath of the Wild, even though I'm not a huge fan of really Zelda games, that game looks, it still looks good, even though I haven't played it yet or touched a Switch console. It has my hopes up. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has my hopes up. ARMS has my hopes up just because I want to punch someone in the face. Fire Emblem Warriors. It's a popular game. I sometimes call it the weeaboo cash grab, because like the game was almost dead until the first Nintendo 3DS game like got really popular and like kind of rebooted the franchise. Monster Hunter is a game series I still haven't really gotten into yet, but I really want to play it since a lot of my friends have played it throughout the years. The fact that I see that there's supposedly a Pikmin game and a Kirby game in the works or hinted at, that's great. New Smash Brothers, great. I hope it just doesn't kind of feel like ass like the recent game was. I don't know why, but I am not really a fan of the more recent Smash Brothers game. A lot of people love the new Smash Brothers game. I just didn't feel it. I'm still one of those weird diehards that are just attached to the Melee, right? The GameCube version. And I'm loosely attached to the original Wii version, but what is it, Smash Brothers Brawl? I didn't, whichever one just came out for the Wii U and the 3DS, I wasn't really a fan of. I don't know why. It just didn't hook me, didn't grab me. And people are like, oh, that's blasphemy, but that's just me. For surprises, I would actually like a new Metroid game, but seeing my experience at how depressed the workers at, Nintendo World were when I asked, hey, where's the Metroid section? Yeah, that seems like blank in our future. Like, it's no, I feel like getting a Metroid game is like the ability of me walking. It's not going to happen, especially after a friend of mine who's like a super kind of Nintendo, like, I guess, nerd. He's not really a drone, but I would say Nintendo nerd, because he at least studied like all the games and researched all of the history about stuff. Was that like reason why certain games that we like here in America don't get sequels is just because it's not popular in Japan, which is expected. That happens with television shows or animes that we like here in North America that don't get good in Japan, is that they're canceled because there's not a popularity for the manga or its anime adaptation, so they cancel both. So I heard that Metroid actually is not really like a cash grabbing franchise, even in its home area. Another thing I would like is a Donkey Kong game to be pulled out of their ass, but I don't really expect anything like that to happen. I at times with Nintendo just go, we're going to get something new, fresh and new, maybe with a Zelda game or a Mario game, but they don't really care about any of their other titles or franchises, and it makes me a little bit sad, even though like I'm kind of a casual to the Nintendo system. I grew up on it, but not enough on it where I know all of the games. I don't know all of the pieces or the installments to everyone's franchise, like Mario, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Metroid / Samus and Link and Zelda. But I've played enough where it's like there's elements to every like kind of game that I like, and sometimes a lot of the games I do like are the ones that the mass majority of their buyers like doesn't reach me. And ironically, I fall into the weird category of that. I feel like I'm more of a Sony Xbox guy, just because I feel like they kind of speak to me in a sense. They have games, or they, at least their way that they're able to produce their third-party games or their basic I guess, console games just feel a lot better, and they also have more interesting exclusives to their libraries. Even though they're not cartoony, cute, and adorable characters, they still have really good games, and I think that's one thing that I feel at times does hurt, like, say, Sony, was the loss of, like, the Spyro franchise, as well as the Crash Bandicoot franchise, which is now getting resurgence. So overall, with Nintendo, my hopes are probably at its lowest, but, like, if they were to be, like, new Metroid, new Kirby, more Pikmin, a Donkey Kong game, I think I would, like, flip my shit. I made a joke the other day to Cal saying that one of the biggest things that Nintendo could do to draw in a huge cash grab and a giant middle finger to a lot of people is say, yo, you know how you've been waiting for this game called Mega Man Legends 3? Well, we decided to give Capcom money to make Mega Man Legends 3. Out of their bag, I would be like, holy shit, now I gotta go buy a fucking Switch. That, and I know Jerry's gonna make a joke at this after I make this reference, but I know for a fact that, like, he even made the joke, is like, we'll probably throw money at it as soon as they announce Pokemon Stars. And that's the one thing I really hate, is I feel like a lot of Nintendo consumers still are attached only due to the Pokemon license. Nevertheless, like I said, I'm a mix and match when it comes to Nintendo. I want them to do good, but a part of me is just so do good, or at least I feel that they don't do good. Nevertheless, Buttscotcha!
You got me. You got me, Wheels. You're right about Pokemon Stars. Matter of fact, why don't I just lead off with that? I don't expect Pokemon Stars exactly, but that's one of my hopes, is to see Pokemon Stars for Switch. Because, as Will said, it would boost sales. I mean, here's the thing. About how many Switches are sold? Nowhere near as much as there are 3DSs, right? Well, what's a big franchise? Pokemon. People who want to play Pokemon bought a 2DS or a 3DS, well, they'll buy a Switch. As for me, I'm actually another prediction I have, not prediction, another hope I have is that there's a revision for the Switch coming out next year or so. Not necessarily a Switch Pro, just something that fixes the daggone warping that the thing does when it sits in the dock for too long. Like, that's crazy. The thing is built to hold the Switch, and yet there's complaints of the Switch warping in the dock and of people getting their screen scratched, but the screen scratch might not necessarily be the dock's fault as so much as people shoving the thing in there. I would love to see a new Metroid, but Wheels also said it. Probably not going to happen. But that's something that they should do. They should go after a different audience, as well as their core audience. But not a different audience like gamers who only played the Wii. The Wii came out at that strange time where smartphones weren't all that abundant, and casual gaming was still just on the Wii. And I see something's writing. Nobody else can hear it. Is it too late for Jeff to join? This is not getting edited. No, it's not too late. Does he want to join? There he is. All right, it's my turn, though. So Jeff will go right after me, then. I don't have that much to say anyways. I just wanted to say about, where was I? Wider audience? Wider audience. Nintendo should go after a wider audience, but not necessarily casual gamers. Smartphones have cornered and gutted and killed that fish that is casual gaming. Nintendo, I don't know why they think they can still go after that. Family friendly isn't bad, but that shouldn't be your end-all be-all. Metroid would get people. New IPs would get people. ARMS, I'm interested in. ARMS looks to be a better fighting game, a more technical fighting game than Smash Brothers. I honestly would rather see ARMS than Smash Brothers. And watch us get a bunch of dislikes. As I said, I like ARMS more than Smash Brothers.
I like ARMS too, don't worry.
So, what else do we have? We have Yokai Watch. That's 3DS. There was a game for the 2DS and 3DS that was, I think it was called Ever Oasis. That's it. That one looks to be a new IP that goes to what I'm looking for, what other games looking for. Hey, this is more of a I don't want to say core, but I guess core is the right term. More of a core game, but with that Nintendo spin. You guys at Nintendo are great at making games and making games that work and don't have to be patched to death. When you make a game, it's a game, and it's cooked, if not to perfection, darn near perfection. So get in there, go make games like that people want to play, that gamers want to play. Forget that fish that's casual gaming. It's been gutted, like I said. And make a revised Switch and Pokemon Stars and a Star Fox that isn't a reboot, and we will be good on my end. And that ARMS tournament, it's got me. I'm gonna be watching an ARMS tournament to see if it's a good replacement for Smash Brothers. I mean, I know Melee's been played to death and everybody loves it, but come on, let Melee die. Let Melee die. And let ARMS take its place if there has to be 2 Nintendo games at EVO.
Let Cripples take over. We own that
Butt
game.
Scratcher! Jeff, it's your turn. We'll all be muted.
Alright. Well, in regards to E3 itself for Nintendo, I'm really conflicted this year. Like, on one hand, I really want to have faith that they're going to do a great show because they did one 2 to 3 years ago. That was an amazing one. How this year, like with any console manufacturer, funny enough, I brought this up with Kyle when he did his live stream for the ARMS Direct yesterday. They did, and to include myself and our good friend, Bad Gamer. Nintendo, just like with any manufacturer, this is their first full year of releasing a brand new console, specifically a home console. This is the year they need to go big or go home. Or the old saying in Zombieland, time to nut up or shut up. I agree with you, Jerry, on a lot of things. This needs to die in regards to Melee. I love the game, but I prefer, in regards to Smash entries of the past, I think that Brawl was the better game. I think even the latest entry for 3DS and Wii U were better games overall. But when it comes to the Evo tournament and the overall fighting community scene, I agree 100%. I rather see ARMS takes its place and just Melee to die into obscurity, because that's a 15 to 16-year-old game that's still saying it's the best when it's really not. I mean, I even watched the Direct yesterday with, like I said just now, with both Kyle and Alex, i.e. Bad Gamer, and I think ARMS has the potential to be another hit for esports community, just like how Splatoon was for Nintendo a year or two ago. When it comes to Nintendo, I want to see a better communication in regards to its community, its consumers. I want to see a better attempt at. Well, I think this iteration of Nintendo Network is better than what was done on the Wii U and 3DS that I've seen thus far. What happened with you, Jerry? I don't know if you explained, but I need to see a better implementation of Nintendo Network's internet structure and the overall infrastructure of it. There needs to be a lot done with Nintendo. I want to root for them. They're one of my favorite developers. I've said this in the past, and I also said Sony too. I don't have any issues with the developers. And it's always been this. It's the bureaucrat BS, the companies. It's the nonsense these companies pull in regards to the price in the console, what they do in regards to their what they pull behind the scenes in regards to how anti-consumer they are. That's my biggest issue, not only with Sony, but more specifically Nintendo. I want to root for Nintendo. I want to get a Switch. But when I eventually get a Switch, I'm not getting it brand new. I'm getting it used because I don't want to support Nintendo in regards to giving them my money, because as much as I like the idea, I don't have faith in them yet. Like this E3 for me, they need to prove to me that they've learned from their mistakes that were not only the Wii U, But the first couple of years of the 3DS, because people tend to forget the 3DS was a failure too for the first couple of years until they lowered the price, and the rest is history. But that's my biggest issue. They need to prove to me. They need to prove that, okay, we understand what our core audience wants. And like you said, they need to stop chasing that lightning in the bottle that was casual gamers. They're still there. They're always going to be there, but they should not be the main focus. I don't mind them focusing on casual gamers when they're making new IPs, but when they're reintroducing classic IPs like what happened last year, not only with Star Fox Zero, but also with Metroid Federation Force. When Miyamoto said that they were stopping casually when they were stopping to cater to casual gamers, I don't know about you guys, but I called quickly BS full front on that quote, because I think that was a bull-faced lie from Miyamoto. Because when you saw games, those two specific games, they were catered full stop to casuals. They weren't catered to the hardcore gamer for Nintendo's products. I don't know what else to add. Like, I want Nintendo to succeed. I really do, and I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping and praying for an E3 that they knock it out of the park like they did 2 to 3 years ago. But I don't know. I really don't know.
Is that all?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So,
Right.
and you didn't even want to give your thoughts about some of the games that they're possibly going to be talking about at the event?
Well, that's the thing. Unlike the other two we talked about recently, they're predictable. Like PlayStation and Microsoft, we know, but we've said in the past, and you can even agree to this too, Double R, is that Nintendo is always unpredictable.
Right.
So I see the list you talk about, like, I don't know, like, I am so begrudging in the past that I really don't feel like talking about the games that are on the list, to be bluntly honest. Because we really don't know if these games are actually being made, or because we don't know how predictable Nintendo is, because they're so unpredictable. You know what I mean? The only thing I can say is I'll wait for the actual event.
Okay. So, you're done on your end?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wheels, you can come back on now, because it's now time for our mailbag section, and I believe that Jerry is going to that right now. Are you, buddy?
Okay.
All right, so the first comment I got, out of context, I didn't understand what he meant. Not dead dumbasses. What?
I think that's in regards to the PlayStation.
And then I put two and two together, because the other comment said, new Super Slim Vita 3000 HDMI output, 1080p OLED screen, L2 R2, 4 gigs RAM, 1080p cam, 3 gigs internal hard drive, micro SD card, HDR gains, full touchscreen web browser, VR 360 video for web browser, and Bluetooth 5.0 at E3. Go.
What?
Basically making up a fantasy Super Vita.
Well, yeah, but still, that's
I thought it was spam at first.
Mm-hmm. But that's still, that's really hard to wrap your head around with all those fantasy-made specs, you know?
So, part of me also thinks this is the person that is responsible for the dislikes.
Yeah, and I remember also seeing a comment from LPH is Good saying about Sucker Punch's new IP.
No. That was, I'll get to that. LPH is Good actually said, yeah, Sony will be playing safe this year, and the only game I want to see is Spider-Man and Marvel vs. Capcom. And Double RPG, I love Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I'll see you guys in E3 livestream.
Oh, thank you.
And then the other one from Shimon, I'm guessing Shimon Stanford, and what about Sucker Punch's new IP? I just forgot.
Yeah, I forgot too. It's like that's another one of those games that they announced about a year or two ago, and it's just, that's all we know. but we don't know anything else.
And last comment just says, very good, which might be spam.
Wait, who wrote it?
Rewind Remix.
That's a spam channel.
Yeah, that's a.
They commented at least on 3 of Hero Club
That's
stuff.
what. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. I'm pretty sure it's spam.
Oh man.
But so we got the real comments, and like I said, so what do you guys think about the person just Vita's dead?
Yeah.
So Sony stopped supporting it, okay? And I love the Vita.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you guys think we're hating Sony just because we're not kissing up to Sony doesn't mean we hate them.
Yeah.
I'll do the kissing up to Sony since that technically in a sense my master system since the other systems I barely play and I own them.
I'm a Sony guy. I have a Vita. I still play. I said before we recorded, I was playing Odin Sphere on my Vita.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, I like the Vita. It's not being supported. Therefore, it's dead.
Listen, this is the thing that I get a lot, and like yes, I'm kind of a Sony fanboy, but the thing is like. The only 2 consoles I ever had growing up were technically Nintendo based and Sony based, and I'm like anyone who grew up with a Genesis, I thought they were poor kids. I thought if they had a Sega console that they were the poor kids.
Oh.
I had both growing up.
Like I was like,
Jeff were the weird guys. I had both.
Like I'd see Sega consoles, I'm like, oh, they look nice on the outside, but I don't see anyone really buying their games at the store.
Yeah, I mean,
I what's your opinion on us getting the shaft on Sony?
I don't like. I'll tell you this right now. I think a lot of people give the shaft to Sony and Xbox because they're now more as the main state systems to go to. And like, this is the thing: is like it goes with the fact of being a casual gamer. And like, I see myself as a gamer and a casual at the same time. Like, I don't even know what the kind of gamer I am because I like a lot of different types of games because of different types of enjoyment. So it's like when I see like the hardcore radical Nintendo gamers talking about, oh, I like puzzles and I need to have this weird thing of satisfaction and adversity, and I'm like, nigga, I just want to have a game to play. I'm like, what? What the fuck? Like, I don't want a fucking side-scrolling platformer like Mario, but I mean, like, I want a game where it's still fun and like expansive and shit. Like, I don't want something that's like, hey guys, I gotta go find this weird little Rubik's Cube thing so I can go rescue the princess for the 48th time from a goddamn pig demon.
Oh boy.
So what about you, Double R, on us on this whole we don't want you talking Sony? Again, I'm a fan even, but like, geez.
Mm-hmm. And I pretty much agree with Wheels on that. I think it's just, you know, when it comes to core gaming systems, whether it comes from mostly core gamers or casuals who do prefer core gaming, that, of course, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC are their main to-go systems if they want core games. So I think it's more on the fact that they're expecting too much, and basically what they know from what they're possibly going to be talking about, they're a little burned out that they're burnt out that they're possibly not going to get a whole lot of, you know, surprises. But then again, I always said, don't even underestimate those people like either Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo, because they always have surprises up their sleeves. You should never underestimate them. But
No, the rule of thumb is set your bar low, but don't underestimate them.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, it shouldn't really you really shouldn't expect too much, otherwise you're just going to be very disappointed. That's why I tend, you know, like all of us, we tend to set our expectations low, because we want to be surprised in the end, but just don't, you know, get your hopes up for anything that you go to.
Jerry, should I say the joke I made when I asked if I could have been on the Sony predictions episode?
Oh, what was it? I don't even remember.
I was like, all right, this was the joke when I asked you, and I wrote the comment. This is what I had wrote for myself as notes. These were my Sony predictions. Sony teases the never-to-be-released Kingdom Hearts 3 next trailer.
Oh, man.
They did literally disregard Bandai stuff because it's supposedly weeaboo garbage. Promotes random shit because that's mostly shooters and random games that they say are going to be great, but then I realize they're in the goddamn bargain bin and maybe get a sequel a couple of years later down the road. And then I stopped and I was like, wait, did I also just explain Microsoft?
Yeah, both.
Yeah,
right,
you're not wrong about that.
We got through the comments. I was going to say, what do you want to plug? But go ahead, Wheels.
No, those are like one last thing I was gonna make. The only thing I think Sony would pull out of their ass when it comes to the regards of how like a lot of the main systems have like a disregard for anything Bandai Namco gaming. Like you'll see it in like their teaser packages. Like, cause I remember when they did the Godzilla game that came out and everyone was saying was garbage game, or when Digimon World, you saw it like in the monitor screens and the video package, like flashing real fast and going around. You know, as they're like, look at all these titles coming from Bandai, blah 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 blah, Capcom, blah blah blah, Tanomi, blah 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 blah. The only game I think from Bandai this year that could maybe like make them like Sony predict it would be as like Crunchyroll, Subaraya, and Toho like threw money at them to promote that. What is it in the city shrouded in darkness? Because like if you've not checked the forums, at least where I go, the city shrouded in darkness video game is like one of the most hyped fucking video games I've seen around, whether you be anime or tokusatsu. That's like a really like everyone's like, when's it gonna get released? When's it gonna happen? Like if Sony was like, okay, for once we're actually gonna treat Bandai Namco with some fucking respect or whatever, and like be like, here's City Shrouded in Darkness, I probably will like just walk away saying nothing can stop Sony now. Fuck you all, they win. That's all.
All right,
That's all.
plug time.
No, you go first. Go ahead.
Which one, me or
Well, Jeff was
Wheels?
talking. Actually, Jeff. I heard Jeff.
Yeah, how about you go ahead first, Jeff?
All right. Oh, well, in regards to this question, I have nothing to add. You guys basically nailed it all right, and I said.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Oh, nothing. Plug.
I'm sorry?
Nothing
Plug.
to plug?
Oh, the plug, yeah. Anything I have to plug. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Jeff. Look forward to future content we do for not only the Game Riffers on youtube.com/GameRiffers, but for our E3 stream on twitch.tv/GameRiffers. Geek Fighters content, we are working on it, myself and Jerry. So look forward to that on youtube.com/geekfighters, as well as our content over at hero/club.com. Hero Club. That's it.
All right. Wheels. Anything you want to plug before we log off?
Yes, all right. So I'm Wheelchair21. You can follow me on Twitter at Wheelchair21 as well as Facebook. My Instagram is Taja_Doyle. My YouTube channel, yeah, you got to go check it out. I need constant subscribers. I do toy reviews where it pertains to tokusatsu and anime figurine stuff released by Bandai, as well as I have now a little web series that I host on YouTube and SoundCloud called Spin the Wheel. It's pretty much kind of a small reaction thing where I'll react to news and I'll talk about discussion topics. Pretty much it's just like kind of a reboot of an old show I used to have called Doyle's Discussions. Maybe one day I'll explore Spin the Wheel a bit more as Doyle's Discussions again, where I'll have possible guests on and do like a more of a radio talk show kind of thing in the future, but that's all down the goddamn line. But like Jeff said, check out HeroClub.com. It's hero-club.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Hero Club for Life. And like I said, just support all of our work. Check us out. We're small-time guys trying to get big and get over. We don't want to be like Zack Ryder and have our dreams crushed in front of our eyes due to John Cena.
Literally.
Yeah. Ruthless aggression. And if only my soundboard still works, then, or, during this call, then I would have hit that button up. But either way, Jerry, you or me?
I guess since you're host, I'll go next.
Okay, go ahead.
Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Ikari Radio, IKARIRADIO. Everywhere else, I am so many places. Facebook.com/FighterCows. Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, youtube.com/Brad Burns Rival, because I made that channel years and years before I became Fighter Couch. And I do something similar to Doyle's Spin the Wheel. Doyle's Discussion. That's the old name. We're called The Drop on there, where I also talk about stuff in the news. All right, Double R.
All right. You can find me on youtube.com/RPGreviews. I do my retrospective series on Final Fantasy, which is RPG's Final Fantasy Retrospective. I've also done videos that are like 2 cents videos, and I also do live streams, whether it be on video games or, doing my live reactions of some live streams that go on, whether it be something in relation to a Nintendo Direct or even for something that's in relation to Sony or whatnot, which is something that I'll need to work on more, doing reaction videos toward them. But of course, they wouldn't be like, videos that I would just do a recording of, and then I would just go through Vegas and just make all that bullshit yada 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 edits. But, it's just all on the spot. But you can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. My Facebook fan page is RPG Reviews, and then you'll find me on Twitter at RPG Reviews. Be on the lookout for more content coming from me in the future that you're not going to find anywhere else in terms of my own content, and hopefully you'll get to hear me, Jerry, and Jeff when we do more content for the Game Refers, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch. Hopefully we'll get around to doing more of our original roots of the Game Riffers, where we do our Let's Plays and, where we riff on good games. Hopefully we'll do a relaunch of that on Twitch sometime soon, especially when it comes to both Super Mario Bros. 2 and Thousand Arms. And hey, gonna give one last suggestion to you guys. We do appreciate you, delivering your comments, and if you want us to talk about any third parties or, any games from third parties at all for, our road to E3, we will be glad to actually do an episode on them if you leave a comment in the comment section. Otherwise, we'll just leave it at that, and then we'll wait until we get to our live streams of E3 on, I think the starting one is June 10th with EA Play, but other than that, you won't be hearing much from us at all until the next month. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that, and so I just want to say thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode, and Wheels, we definitely thank you for coming in as our special guest for this Road to E3 episode. We very much appreciate it, man. And,
thanks.
Absolutely. And to sign off of this call, I am RPG.
I'm 16-bit Jeff.
Fighter Cows.
Cripple McCripple Pants.
I would have said butt scratcher, but yeah, that works too. But anyways, thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you at E3. Peace out.